Thank you all for coming. I'd like to start out with introductions. So we'll start with you, Dr. Weber.
I'm Dr. Weber. I'm the neuro-oncologist involved in Mary's care.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm Mary's nurse.
I'm John, Mary's husband.
I'm her daughter, Cynthia.
And my name is Deborah Stein. I'm the ICU nurse practitioner that's taking care of Mary here. Okay. I called this meeting this afternoon so that we can all come to a shared understanding about where Mary's at in her illness, what we think is going on with Dr. Weber's input, and help come up with a plan, as well as address any additional questions or concerns that you, John, and Cynthia might have. Okay? So first I'll start out with a little bit of a background. But first, actually, do you have any questions or concerns?
Well, I mean, you know, Mary's been getting worse. We're hopeful that the LP will tell us something so that we'll know where to go. I mean, you know, this is a hospital. She should be getting better. She's in a hospital, you know.
Cynthia?
Yeah, I mean, Dad said it all, basically the same.
Okay. So just to summarize where we've been and then where we're at. So a couple years ago, Mary was diagnosed with the glioblastoma, and she was treated with chemotherapy and radiation. Now we're here because Mary seems to be getting worse despite our best treatments at supporting her. And so there's a lot of questions about what's happening with her cancer, what are the potential treatment options, what is the plan moving forward. There's the talk about the lumbar puncture, but I heard that, you know, you both had some ambivalence about, you know, maybe not doing too many invasive procedures if she's not going to get better. So now we'll hear from Dr. Weber about where we're at, what our thought process is, what, you know, procedures need to be done to help guide treatments moving forward so that we can collectively come up with a plan together based on, you know, what Mary's and your family's, you know, goals and wishes are. Dr. Weber?
Based on Mary's symptoms, we don't believe it's being caused by the tumor based on her location. So this is, and also it wouldn't be due to any medication she's taking. So this is the reason we want to do the lumbar puncture. The lumbar puncture could reveal if it has spread to the spinal fluid. And if that's extensive, we would not be doing active cancer treatment, but we'd be focusing more on comfort, which can be done either inpatient hospice or at home hospice. But if it hasn't spread, we don't know this yet, it is possible that we could still continue some active cancer treatments such as chemotherapy.
So, she's dying.
If it has spread to the spinal fluid, I regret to say yes. If not, there may be some further treatment that we could do, but there's still no guarantee that she would not die from the glioblastoma.
You know, I can't help thinking that if only she would eat something, maybe she can get stronger or something, you know? I mean, isn't there something, a swallow, a test that you can give her?
The problem is that in her level of, in her sedated state, it would be dangerous for her to eat. She would choke on her food, and also there's a risk that it could go down into her lungs and she'd develop a pneumonia. But we could do a feeding tube.
No, we don't want a feeding tube because we don't want to do anything that unnecessarily causes her discomfort. I mean, you know, if she's suffering, she's suffering, right? I mean, if she's going to die anyway. just don't think we should cause any more suffering for her. I mean, the thing is it sounds like that this lumbar thing is our only hope, and so as soon as we can get that done, I mean, when is that going to be done, and like when do we get the results back? Because if that's our hope, then the results come back negative, then she could have more chemotherapy.
We could do the lumbar puncture either on the floor, on our floor, or in the ICU.
Oh, but no, I've had a lumbar puncture in the past, and it was very painful. But I know that if you have it in the radiology, it would be much less painful. So I can't see doing it in the ICU.
Okay, we could wait a day, and actually, even though the final cytology would take a while to come back, the preliminary results might be helpful where we could make a determination earlier of what course we would be taking.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So just to recap, it sounds like the decision making is really hinging on the results of the lumbar puncture. So the plan is that Mary is first case tomorrow morning. It'll take probably a few hours for at least the preliminary results to come back. So as soon as those results are back, I'll set up a meeting with the ICU, you, and Dr. Weber so that we can discuss the results and come up with the best plan moving forward. And we can talk about whether we're going to transition to focusing on Mary's comfort versus, whether or not there's potential for possible chemotherapy, and then we would talk about possibly putting in a feeding tube to help support her. How does that sound?
It sounds like it's at least something that we can hang on to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.